So today we'll be talking on STIs. We'll be talking about the ABCs of STI. Just to say that we'll be doing an overview as it pertains to STI. What is STI?
Okay, first of all, the full meaning of STIs are like sexual transmitted infections. And the infections that are transmitted through sexual contact, from the word sexually transmitted. They're transmitted through sexual contact, and they are caused by bacteria, viruses, and parasites.
So how then can we explain what's the difference if we say this is a bacterial infection, this is a viral infection, or otherwise?
Okay, so bacterial infections are easy to cure and they can be detected easily, and they do not have, some of them do not have symptoms. We have gonorrhea, syphilis, and chlamydia. They do not have symptoms. While viral infections are like really hard to cure, and once you get it, you've gotten it for life. Like that's it. It's not leaving you. You have to manage it.
So what are the easiest or most common misconception when it comes to STIs that people out there, maybe they think it is this but that's not what it is, or sometimes they think that it's not this but that's actually what it is?
Okay, I would say the most common misconception that I usually hear about is like people say, I know when someone has STIs. I mean, how do you know? You can't see it. It's not written on the face. Some of them are asymptomatic, like you said. So it's not like written on the face. You have to go through several tests before you know that, okay, this person has an STIs. It's not visible. So you cannot say, I'm sleeping with this person and I know the person does not have STI. So just my first time and he's being the only person I've been sleeping with. That's like a very wrong misconception. Another one I would say is that people say you can get STIs from toilet seats. That's a very wrong misconception because STIs do not even survive outside the human body for, should I say, a long time. So if someone goes in and uses the toilet and is out, you go in and you use the toilet, you can't say you'd get STIs. Rather, you would get urinary tract infections, not STIs.
So what are the effects of having STIs? Possibly short-term and long-term effect of living or having an infection, a sexually transmitted infection.
For the short-term effect, I would say that you would have uncomfortable sensations, first of all. Itching, the rashes. So it deals with you at that moment. You feel uncomfortable because of the present symptoms. But for the long term, it can cause infertility. It can cause, I think it could reduce your low self-esteem. I mean, imagine being in a room of women and you can't take off your clothes because you have what around. So it could cause low self-esteem, could cause infertility, and other, like syphilis, could cause damage to the heart and other organs, depending on if you leave it untreated for a long time.
So coming down, we've realized that government have put in effort bringing out vaccines for some of these conditions or this infection. What role do vaccines play in when it comes to preventing STIs? Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Intimate Matters podcast. As usual, on this podcast, we take you on a journey as we dive deep into the world of sexual and reproductive health. We're here to inform you and to also educate you as it pertains to sexual and reproductive health. If you're interested in learning about your sexual and reproductive health, or you just want to have fun, come on this journey with us. And today, we're here with an amazing personality, a nurse, and her name is Happiness Brendan. Thank you for joining us today, Ma.
Thank you very much.
So today, we'll be talking on STIs. We'll be talking about the ABCs of STI, just to say that we'll be doing an overview as it pertains to STI. And we have an amazing guest in the house who will be guiding us on this journey. To start, Nurse Happiness, What is STI?
Okay, first of all, the full meaning of STIs are like sexual transmitted infections. And the infections that are transmitted through sexual contact, from the word sexually transmitted. They're transmitted through sexual contact, and they are caused by bacteria, viruses and parasites.
All right. So it means that there are diseases or infection caused by this the sexual route, and they vary. It could be a virus, it could be a bacteria. Okay. So how then can we explain what's the difference if we say this is a bacterial infection, this is a viral infection, or otherwise?
Okay. So bacterial infections are easy to curb, like I said, and they can be detected easily. And they do not have, some of them do not have symptoms. We have gonorrhea, syphilis, and chlamydia. They do not have symptoms. While viral infections are like really hard to curb. And once you get it, you've gotten it for life. Like that's it. It's not leaving you. You have to manage it. So that's like the main difference between bacterial infection and viral infections.
Okay, so like she said, we have bacterial infection that comes in mostly asymptomatic, but it can easily be treated and you can easily be cured of it. But when we're looking at viral infection, it gets into your body and is there for life. Also, all you can do is maybe do treatment option to reduce the viral load or to manage the signs and symptoms. Example could be the HIV virus that people are still taking treatment for, hopefully looking forward to a cure and maybe looking forward to a vaccine. So what are the easiest or, most common misconception when it comes to STIs that, people out there, maybe they think it is this, but that's not what it is. Or sometimes they think that it's not this, but that's actually what it is.
Okay, I would say the most common misconception that I usually hear about is like people say, I know when someone has STIs. I mean, how do you know? You can't see it. It's not written on the face. Some of them are asymptomatic, like you said. So it's not like written on the face. You have to go through several tests before you know that, okay, this person has STIs. It's not visible. So you cannot say, I'm sleeping with this person and I know the person does not have STI. It was just my first time and he's being the only person I've been sleeping with. That's like a very wrong misconception. Another one I would say is that people say you can get STIs from toilet seats. That's a very wrong misconception because STIs do not even survive outside the human body for, should I say, a long time. So if someone goes in and use the toilet and is out, you go in and you use the toilet, you can't say you'd get STIs. Rather, you would get urinary tract infections, not STIs. And you saying you're sleeping with one partner, so you can't get STIs. You don't know if your partner has another partner or has another partner, and the line continues. So you can't be so sure. You have to make sure that if you're with someone, the person has to test regularly or according to like the informed time to carry out tests.
All right. So I think one of the misconceptions, thank you for hitting that on the head, is the fact that people say sexually transmitted infection can be gotten from the toilet.
Yeah.
Because when you bring this maybe on the social media space or you're talking to people, toilet infection is a big thing. For people that sell drugs on our junctions, on our roads, we hear them hit so much on toilet infection, and it's something that we're trying to change this narrative. We're trying to push it out there that the infection, yes, you can get an infection from the toilet. That's so many bacteria that is found in the toilet, but it does not affect your sexual organ. Most likely it's going to affect your digestive system, cholera and the rest. And this is, actually something that we really need to put out there. And I think, like you said, is the fact that people think they can know people with sexually transmitted infection from the face. And I think it's of recent that people have started saying that some people that have some infection, especially long-term, like viral infection, like HIV, sometimes they look more healthier than the other person on the street, maybe because of the treatment regimen that they are on. So what are the common signs and symptoms of STIs?
Okay, the most common signs and symptoms, I think we'll be looking at them unusual discharge, both in male and female. That's from a penis and the vagina, unusual discharge. Or maybe you have a foul smell. And also look at sores and rashes in the genital area, and also warts, genital warts in the genitalia. And also painful urination is one of the signs and symptoms. And we also have painful, during sexual intercourse, you have pain while, you're having coitus and that.
All right. So those are the signs and symptoms. I think, and also to add to that, for the ladies, depending on the severity of the infection,
Okay.
oftentimes there is itching. Now the itching comes as a result of the alteration in the natural flora of the vagina, because the vagina first and foremost oftentimes senses a change, senses an entrance of a foreign body, if we are to say that, because these microorganisms and the rest of the things that causes these STIs are actually foreign bodies. So how important is it, or how regular do you think people should test for STIs?
Okay, from the CDC, I read that it is important to get tested at least annually. But if you are very sexually active, 6 to 12 months is the range for you to check yourself. But for someone that is not really sexually active, you can check once in a year, get tested once in a year.
All right. So they say if you do it once every 3 months or once every 6 months, you can do it once a year.
Yeah.
But if you know that every weekend, if rain falls, you are on the bike, you are on a transport going somewhere, please do it every six months. And also it's important that you don't just do it for yourself. You do it for your partners. For people who keep partners, emphasis on the S. I remember when I was telling someone who patronizes a brothel. So I was advising him, when you do your test, do it for your service providers. It's not a bad thing for you to do a bonanza and test everybody in that brothel.
True.
Or call your favorite customers or your favorite service providers and tell them, come, let us do something together. We've been doing something together. Come, let us do something healthy together. So because oftentimes, like you're saying now, most times talking about sexually transmitted infection is something that people hide.
Yes.
Right? It's easier for somebody to tell you, I have malaria, I have typhoid. People will even tell you it's easier for them to tell you they have cancer than to tell you they have any sexually transmitted infection. So how do we encourage people to open up, say it out loud, or seek help? How do we encourage people to talk about this aspect? Because it's still an infection like every other form of infection that can happen to someone. How do we encourage people to talk about it?
Okay, so STI is not like a stigma. It should not be seen as a stigma. It should be seen as something that is just like a regular, should I say, every other disease, because sex is like a normal thing in our day-to-day activity or in our day-to-day lives for us humans. So I think it is better probably you find educating the public more about STIs is going to help them, or creating awareness is going to help them see this as a norm. It's not something that you should hide about. It's not something that should be characterized as something really bad that you're having sex. Because of the way our world is now, I mean, even people in secondary schools are doing it. So it's something that you should give them sex education about it. Encourage them to come out and talk to you. And this would happen only when you are not judgmental. Not someone tells you about, okay, please, I want to talk to you about this. And then you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, this person is having sex. Oh, wow, how? So try not to be judgmental, and also be empathetic also as a nurse. That's one of the, qualities of a nurse. So be empathetic and try also to profess solution to that person anyhow you can through your words, and probably directing the person to a professional would help also.
All right, so because I like the fact that you've mentioned judgmental. Well, we're both health professionals, and we know what happens in the hospital.
Definitely.
Especially when it comes to, like you say, you're talking about secondary school children. So you know what happens when a secondary school child, for example, like 13, 14, walks in, maybe you're in a family planning clinic or maybe in a SRH clinic, and comes and mentions to you that he or she, as the case maybe, is having sex. Right? Mm-hmm. So, because that's something that health professionals out there need to look at, because some people say it's not supposed to be so. It's understandable, but what's ideal is not always what's real, because we know the ideal thing. There should be a particular age where people start to engage, but we're not going to see that. And I think the fact that we shy away from it, feel that these children are not doing it, is actually what is even. They're doing more than we know. Because I've worked in places where children of 14 have come in for family planning services, right? And sometimes you see on social media, mothers take their children for family planning and people blast the mothers. Are you encouraging? But then what if this child may even be addicted to this sex? Because actually there's something to look at. And as talking about this role, I think people don't realize that STIs and STDs differ a bit. You might have an infection and sometimes it doesn't grow into a disease. So when you have a disease, you start to show the clinical signs and symptoms. For example, HPV infection. People have HPV infection, but some of them don't grow into the disease because the body immune system work on it, hinders it, and doesn't allow it to grow. But in as much as sometimes your body may work on it, it's important that you don't take it for granted. You go out there, you get yourself tested, and you do what you need to do. Yeah. So coming down, we've realized that government have put in efforts bringing out vaccines for some of these conditions or this infection. What role do vaccines play in when it comes to preventing STIs? What do vaccines do?
Okay, I would say the vaccine plays a preventive role. It's preventing you from having this infection or disease, as the case may go. I mean, the vaccine is like introducing a thread of that infection into your body, so that when it eventually comes, it sees it and it's like, oh, this has been here before. So it's like acting like an antibody, so that when this infection comes, it's already there. So it has created this immunity for this person. So he said that vaccine plays a preventive role in one getting this infection. That's what I would say.
Okay, all right. So introducing like a control trait of the disease-causing organism into their body, and the body works on that, builds memory, builds immunity. And I think it's important we put this out there, because when we talk about vaccine, for example, they just introduced HPV vaccine. Okay. So many people run away from it. I know when vaccine comes, the amount of rumors and side talk that gets, they want to kill us, they want to finish us, they want our women not to be fertile again. But it's not actually so. So these vaccines are put into your body to make your body aware that such a disease is available, so that when you finally, for whatever reason, have to see this disease, your body knows what to do. And this is important, please. Parents out there, take your young children, especially for the HPV vaccine. The HPV has been implicated in so many things. Cervical cancer, penile cancer, vaginal cancer, vulva cancer, and the list goes on. So put your children out there, take your children. It's free in the Nigerian public health space, so they can get vaccinated. And for people who are below 26, you can still take it. If you're above 26, you need to talk to your medical professional to ensure that you take it. But I think the rule of thumb is that it's better for virgins, because it's expected that when you actually have the sex, you've already been exposed to the HPV virus. So if you are a virgin in the house, please rush and go do the needful. If you're not a virgin, you can still talk to your medical professional and they'll see what they can do. So what are the effects of having STIs? Possibly short-term and long-term effect of living or, having an infection, a sexually transmitted infection.
For the short-term effect, I would say that you would have uncomfortable sensations, first of all. Itching, the rashes. So it deals with you at that moment. You feel uncomfortable because of the present symptoms. But for the long term, it can cause infertility. It can cause, I think it could reduce your low self-esteem. I mean, imagine being in a room of women and you can't take off your clothes because you have warts around. So it could cause low self-esteem, it could cause infertility, and other, like syphilis, could cause damage to the heart and other organs, depending on if you leave it untreated for a long time.
Oh, all right. So you talk about not being able to remove your...
I mean...
Could that be why that guy... when they go stay out in? So what basically, because these are the realities. These are the realities we see, that sometimes when you go to places and maybe, let's say you want to get to a swimming pool, or maybe you tell people to pull out their clothes, people are like, no, it cannot happen. It cannot happen. I don't swim and all this. Sometimes it's not as if they cannot swim. sometimes they know,
Yeah.
they actually know what's going on. And I think I want to put this out because I think STIs show more on women than men. It's more easily recognized on women. The itching put up to you. And that's why oftentimes men overlook STIs because their symptoms come in a little bit late and a little bit more sublime. And men feel that, for example, let me put this, like the yeast infection. I know how much men blast women, especially on social media, how much they are dating down, they are discharging down than the rest. But men have more yeast infection than women. I think I need to say this slowly because it's my agenda, but that's the truth. But it's only when it grows to a high level that they start manifesting. And most times, these women that are treating recurrent yeast infection is the men. It's the men because yeast thrives in dirty places, humid places. Men wear very tight boxers. We know the whole trend that women are more sanitary than men. Some men, they have to wait to smell their boxers before they have to. No, it's the reality. So when we see these kind of things, please, men, help the women. We know it's manifesting them easier, but help them do what they have to
take
do.
Take note of that, men.
Okay, so how about the psychological and emotional support? For people who may, let's say, it could be the short-term STIs, it could be the long-term STIs. How do we emotionally and psychologically support these people to take this work?
First of all, you have to have a supportive partner. If you went and did one night stand and connect, and you know you lost the person again, sorry, I'm really, really sorry. But I mean, if it's your partner, yes, he or she has to be supportive. Encourage you to take your drugs, encourage you to go for treatment. And as a nurse, you have to, like I said, be empathetic. Tell the person it's not the end of the world. There's some people when they hear, oh, I have HIV, but they're like, it starts dealing with you in here before it manifests. So like you have to tell them that it's not the end of the world. If it's a bacterial infection, it can be treated. If it's a viral infection, it can be managed and you can still have a long lifespan. So try to support them, say things that you know that don't use the wrong words at the wrong time. So speak the right words to them.
So are you saying that for someone like me who does not have a partner, if I pick it up, man has finished?
No, it has not finished now. There's hope for you.
So who will?
I'll be the nurse. I'll encourage you.
Okay, that's a professional. So we're talking about partner.
You don't have a partner.
You see?
What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do?
But is it not true that you can pick this STI on the road as a nurse?
Yeah, actually, true. On the road, how?
So because some people believe that, and you ask people, how did you get this thing? And like, I remember a senior friend of mine. So he called me up to help him, was trying to talk about picking up gonorrhea. I didn't realize that his partner was close to the phone. So I was asking him, how did you do it? The kind of story this guy told me, even not for men supporting men, and the fact that I understood with him, I knew this story was not going anywhere. This story did not have a hotel. And fortunately for him, I don't encourage that, but also unfortunately for the girl is not health inclined, so she couldn't understand a whole lot. She didn't know that the way he said he got the gonorrhea could not pass that way. So it was like, can something be done to me and my partner? And the girl was asking, how did you even get it? I was like, I went to work and I did it. And for the love of brotherhood, but after everything, I took out time to sit and tell him that you're not supposed to do this, that there are a couple of things that you need to know. So putting it out there, please, because for someone who's working the HIV programming space, people die psychologically first before they even die of the disease. Funny thing, somebody may have the virus, like the HIV virus, for years and is living healthy, but the day he gets to know, it has happened to me. I've gone to check for my HIV status. I was showing some symptoms, fever and some rashes and everything. And yeah, I had done something that could mean I could have the virus. Okay. So I went there and the person was testing. It was like, come back the next day for the test. And you know the way they do it, they come in and I'm like, this is not the end of life. It's not the end of the world.
Why?
So like they start asking questions. Are you having fever? I'm like, yeah. Rashes, yes. The fact that I have this knowledge and the fact that the person is putting it out there again, I was like, okay, just tell me this result. Let me go. And people that know me were like, you're looking somehow. What's your body? You're losing weight and the rest of. So those are the kind of things. So please, it's important that as parents, friends, loved ones, even enemies, we're supposed to support our enemies when they go through things like this. Because when you support them, you encourage them to seek treatment. Because oftentimes, why people don't seek treatment is that they don't want people to know.
True.
So you see people who take, for example, the HIV therapy, they hide the drugs, they hide it from their partner, they hide it from their children. Some people tell you that before you give them the drugs, you need to change the casing. They have to package it somewhere, maybe put it in multivitamin stuff and everything, and it shouldn't be so. So thank you so much, Nurse Happiness, for shedding light on this. So do you have some last words for people out there when it comes to STIs?
I mean, whatever it is you're doing and with whoever you are doing it with, like having sex with, just be cautious and get tested. You cannot see STIs on the face. It's not written on the face. So just be careful about what you're doing. And as you're having fun, remember that your health is wealth. Thank you.
All right. So like Nurse Happiness said, for people who don't know, my name is Nurse Akwa Wakman. Why I had to emphasize my name is that I'm from the Bibio tribe, and I'm going to say this in the honor of my father. My father says, meaning that as at the time you are enjoying that meal, most likely trouble may come. So while you are having fun, while you are enjoying what you're enjoying, please don't forget the ABCs of protection when it comes to sexual and reproductive health. A, abstain. If you have no business with sex, please stay away from sex. Sex is not for everybody. You can choose to or choose not to. But if you say you cannot abstain, go over to the B, be faithful to a mutually faithful partner. Emphasis on mutually faithful. You can be faithful, though, but who you are with is not faithful. And don't look at me like that. You know how many times you've got your partner. So you need only your partner. Some of yourself, it's not only your partner you have. So it goes both ways. And finally, correct and consistent condom use. Emphasis on correct and also consistent. Some of you use it consistently, but you don't use it correctly. Some of you use it correctly, but you don't use it consistently. When you do round 1, round 2, you just throw it away so that you can fire Raw or share Raw or share SmackDown. But in the long run, you put yourself in danger when you do this. So realize that condom have ways to use it. I think we'll talk about that in more product details. Condom is not one size fits all. Go for your size so that it doesn't slip or it doesn't break. Condom doesn't have to be torn with the mouth. Some of you just put it there and tear anyhow. You're supposed to tear condom with your hand. That's how this thing is done. Condom needs to be stored in a cool, dry place. They have a temperature for storing condom. Some of you, if we remove your wallet and your handbag, there's a condom that has been there for more than 1 month.
1 month is too small.
Some people carry it around. Some people have that one as backup in case they forget, in case they have emergency. They call it emergency match in case it's like carrying your boots around. But all the same, please, let's do the needful. We're going to talk about that. So we want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Intimate Matters podcast. And on this podcast, we take you on a dive into the world of sexual and reproductive health. Is there anything you would like us to talk about? Is there anything you want to learn? Do well to talk to us, engage us on our social media, and we'll be glad to talk to you, or we'll be glad to discuss the issue that you're having. Do you want to come in? Do you want to come on the podcast and also share your experiences? We'll be glad to have you. Thank you so much once again, Nurse Happiness. And it's a pleasure that we have you. My name is Akwa Wakman, and I believe that your intimacy matters. That is why we talk about your intimate matters. Thank you. And this is goodbye for now.